The function of graphic design is the communication of messages through the juxtaposition of words and pictures. Design is tactile, environmental, and interactive. Graphic design extends itself into cultural experiences and speaks to a society on practical, emotional, and intuitive levels. It affects human experience from the most mundane to the most extraordinary ways. Design is much more than simply to order, assemble, and build. It adds value and meaning. It provides clarification, simplicity, illumination. It can modify, persuade, highlight, educate, entertain, and amuse. The function of design is not to decorate. Design educates. It inspires and entertains, as well as informs and encourages. Design creates awareness. It nurtures ideas and discussions. It directs, guides, motivates, and persuades. It conveys and ignites attitudes and emotions. The function of design must be established before the design process can begin. Determining the function of the piece is critical and provokes numerous questions that inform the designer and help focus the development of the design. Design objectives are communication, education, information, guidance, encouragement, promotion, inspiration, awareness, dialogue, persuasion, entertainment, direction, and motivation. In order to determine the function of design, will it announce or invite and request participation? Will it inform and create awareness? Will it educate or instruct? Identify or symbolize? Will it represent people, places, or things? Will it illustrate and explain? Will it spark imagination and creativity, interpret and clarify, influence and motivate action, solicit trust or faith? Will it package, promote, sell, or advertise? Will it protect and store, guide and provide navigation, display and exhibit, commemorate and mark history, feature and showcase, anger or incite? Will it entertain or amuse? These are all questions you can ask yourself when you're determining the function of the design. Let's take a look at some designs that are used, and I've categorized these. We're going to be looking at packaging. Packaging establishes the mood of the product that lies inside. It is the very first impression of the piece, and it can dramatically influence its markability. So I'm just going to show you a couple of pieces, and you can see the function of the design and how they are very different. The actual pieces themselves are quite different, but if we look at the actual packaging, how are these things packaged? What are the colors? What are the labels like? You can see that each one is very diverse, and it is going to make an impression that is very diverse. It's marketing itself to a different group of people. The next category we're going to look at is posters. Posters create an immediate visual impact. They feature strong focal points that direct the eye into the composition and lead the viewer towards subordinate content that is accessible upon closer examination. It's important when you're designing a poster that the information clearly leads the viewer. It depends on who your viewer is and what the message is that you're trying to deliver in order to decide where and what the most important piece of information is and how you're going to organize that information. And you can see through these examples that there's many different ways to do this. Color, texture, size, spacing, all kinds of different things are going to come into play. Business cards are components of a larger identity package. They represent individuals, businesses, and organizations. They serve as reminders or symbols of an exchange, dialogue, or meeting. Yet they also have a practical function. They must convey the essential contact details clearly. I have some fun examples in here that are a little bit more three-dimensional. Remember, the purpose of a business card is to convey the information, the contact information, but it's also to stand out from the rest. So how can you achieve that? And you can see some of these examples have done things in creative ways that are going to help them to stand out from their competition. There's so many ways that you can make a business card, and so many ways to make them fun and interesting. The next category is invitations and announcements. Invitations promote and request participation. They are timely in that once the event ends, the design is no longer serving its primary task. Announcements are going to share, entertain, inform, and celebrate. They can be playful or serious, dry or witty, simple or ornate. And let's take a look at a couple of these things. This particular example is actually done on a napkin, and you can see that the format is quite different in that last one that we just saw. All kinds of different styles, sizes. These are actually printed on, they're a save the date announcement or invitation, and they're printed on a fabric. The ideas and the ways that you can deliver your information are really endless. Next category we're going to look at is websites. Websites are a dynamic form of media that must impact the viewer immediately to maintain interest. There is no time to wait for complicated designs to be revealed and deciphered. You have less than 3 seconds to engage and entice before the viewer clicks elsewhere. And these are just a handful of different ways to grab someone's attention. Ways that are more corporate, ways that are a little bit more off the wall. So hopefully this gave you a little bit of information on the function of design, and you could see through the examples that I just shared with you some of the things that we discussed as far as the design objectives and determining the actual function of the design. Definitely consider those things prior to actually doing any sort of design.